evening, Ponto de Luz. It's so good to be here. It's Thursday again. Can you believe it? I think this week went by so fast. It feels like we were here together like yesterday, right? It's so good to be together and study the Spirit's book. So tonight we're going to start with question 123, following the order of the questions, and we are going to start that way with our prayer. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together here tonight in good health, willing to learn and to pray together, willing to bring light to the world and awakening to ourselves. Be with us, Lord, in this beautiful evening. May we, with your blessings, have the permission to start the study of tonight. So be it. So good to be here. It's a moment of my week that I really look forward to. And before I forget, 3 weeks from now, on February 18th, we're going to have a very special guest with us. Peter Hayes is going to use this time, our Spirit's Book time. He's going to talk about the book Action and Reaction of André Luiz. So I'm so looking forward to it. And Peter has been with us multiple times last year, and we're going to start our guests. And Peter is going to be our first guest, and the lecture is going to be in English, and the book Action and Reaction. So we're all going to be here, and we're going to have the pleasure of having Peter Hayes with us at Ponto de Luz. Question 123. Last class, just a little parenthesis. It was so good. We spoke about free will. We spoke about evil and the path and our choices. So it's still continuing on this same theme until we reach the next subtitle, Angels and Demons, which is pretty interesting too. Question 123. Why does God allow spirits to follow the path of evil? You're going to see by the answer that this was a very interesting question, and the spirits are going to answer it the way they always do, right? Very direct, straightforward. Why does God allow spirits to follow the path of evil? And the answer is, how do you dare ask God to give account for the divine acts? Do you think you can penetrate God's designs? Instead, you should say that God's wisdom was found in the freedom of choice that was granted to each spirit, so that each one has the merit of its own works. Isn't that amazing? Instead, you should say that God's wisdom was found in the freedom of choice, our free will, freedom of choice that was granted to each spirit, so that each one has the merit of its own works. We've been growing, studying this book, right? It's so amazing. I think that anyone, no matter what religion, can benefit from the study of the Spirit's book, because it brings so much. And talking about free will, talking about choice now, each spirit was granted the power of choosing. The choices, and we just thought, the book, Action and Reaction. See, we're all invited. This book is, ex- it's just like the best explanation of that. Action and Reaction by Andrea Luiz. We can decide what we're gonna do, but the consequences are gonna be exactly tied to our choices. So, if I decide to smoke and after 20 years of smoking, I developed lung cancer, was that by any chance God's will? Of course not. That was my choice. And that, once that was my decision, I'm going to reap the consequences of that. We say it, I commonly say that if you plant bananas, don't expect to reap or to enjoy your apples. Bananas for bananas, apples for apples. Action and reaction. You can choose. Just be wise to make good choices. On Tuesday, we spoke about Teresa, right? Teresa of Avila. That was in Portuguese on Tuesday evening. And Teresa, she gave us a good, very good example of being constant, determined, disciplined every day. Every day. One day, you're going to reap the results. One day, the results will show. It's not overnight. Nothing is overnight. I was reading a page of this book right before we started. Moments of Courage of Joanna de Angelis. And it just was, the page was so beautiful, talking about patience and how the bees construct tirelessly, continuously, in order, little by little. And the ants and the birds. How come us? How come we have such a difficulty in understanding this lesson? So Teresa says, no matter what happens, don't give up on prayer. And on the period of drought of her life, she never stopped praying. You know how many years it took? 18 years until she finally connected to the deep of her soul where she found God. But it took 18 years. Intense prayer and every day. The good things in life, they're built on a daily basis with habit, good choices. And that's what we need to do. And it works for everything, not only one thing or the other. No, everything you do every day will create either a positive impact on you, on your life in general, or it's going to create a problem for you. The example of the smoking. The other example, let's give a positive example on that. A person that decides to eat better and add more healthy foods to their diet. They may not be where they want to be in 2 days, which is impossible, right? But eventually, through the months, they're going to see the benefits of the good choices that they made. So, God's wisdom was found in the freedom of choice that was granted to each spirit. We can choose. We can choose. But then somebody's going to say, no, Teresa, I was born in a difficult situation with a tough family, this and that. And so what? Remember the story of the twins, right? The twins? One gave the excuse, oh, I'm not going to do it because I didn't have a good background. And the other one said, yeah, I did it because I didn't have a good background and I didn't want to repeat that in my life. Choice. And the spirits gifted us with this answer. And this is why I say to you, reading the Spirit's book is maybe the best decision one can do when they start studying the spiritism. And even if they're not spiritists, it's a book that is going to enlighten them and bring answers to questions that we have. Answers like that brings us with to a positive view of life, a view of choice, the view of I can do it, and according to my choices, the outcome is going to happen. May not happen today nor tomorrow, but it will happen. Question 124. There are spirits who follow the path of absolute goodness from the beginning, while others follow the one of absolute evil. Aren't there gradations between these two extremes? It's the answer was yes, certainly, and they comprise the paths of the large majority. So we see that in society, right? When we look at society as a whole, majority of society is not evil, is not committing crimes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have enough places to deal with that. And the the thing that we need to understand is that we, all of us, we've been through this. We were not, um, we were born, created, simple and ignorant. And we go through the stages of evil because we just don't know better. So as we learn, we become better. So when Kardec asked the spirits, what are the gradations? Why so many extremes? Because if you would look Earth, imagine we're visiting Earth for the first time, and we go to a detention, to a place where people are arrested, and we conceive, we understand that Earth is that. We're just seeing a small part of it. If we go to a hospital where people are suffering, we would have that idea, right? But if we look as a whole, there is a lot of different gradations. Not the extreme evil and not the extreme goodness. But we all know that the transition that we're going through right now, the planetary transition, is bringing us to a world of regeneration where it doesn't mean that evil was not going to be there. It's still going to exist. But goodness will be in a much bigger number. And we need to be ourselves, become the best version of ourselves. So we contribute to that group. We are not aiming to harm others. We're not aiming to purposely do something that is going to create pain and suffering to others. Sometimes we do without understanding what we're doing. And we did it multiple times in the past, right? And I'm not saying only on this present life, but in the previous lives. But we're learning, and we're trying now to substitute those acts of tyranny, selfishness, greed for feelings of charity, fraternity, equality. And that's the most important shift of the energy of this globe, of the energy of Earth, that is gonna become a place where goodness will prevail, where goodness will be the majority. It's not like that in the world of trials and atonements that was what we saw until now. And now we are in the process of becoming that. So when somebody tells me, oh, it's so bad, things are so bad, no, things are getting much better. When you clean up your house, you need to move the furniture around, and you're going to see a lot of dust. It's not that the dust was created then, it was there. and you just shed some light on it, and you clean it, and you put the furniture back. This is exactly it. We see more because the light is now showing things that were under the rugs. And we need to clean it. And we're doing it. And after that, we're going to breathe in a place of less war, less cruelty, less violence. And I can guarantee you, this is what is happening, not the opposite. Question 125. Will those spirits who follow the path of evil be able to arrive at the same degree of elevation as the others? So basically, what Kardec is asking the spirits is, if they're choosing to follow the path of evil, will they catch up with the others? And the answer is yes, but the eternities will be much longer for them. Of course, if you're stopped in a situation that you take pleasure on evil, it's going to take more time than somebody that's already understanding that, oops, I did wrong, but I want to do something different now. And there is a little explanation for the word eternities. I'm going to read it to you. By the expression eternities, we must understand the way in which perfect spirits regard the perpetuity of their sufferings, whose end they are not allowed to foresee. This belief is renewed in all the trials in which they succumb. So the idea of eternities is the way the spirits that are in this situation, they understand the long time of their sufferings. They understand it as eternity. Like a spirit that is in umbral, it would feel that suffering over and over and over again, and sometimes for centuries. And that's what the spirits are answering here. Eternities regard the perpetuity of their sufferings, whose end they are not allowed to foresee. This belief is renewed in all the trials in which they succumb. But we talked about choice, right? Free will. That has been the theme, and it will be the theme until we finish with question 127. And then we're going to talk about angels and demons. Are there angels and are there demons? We're going to read and understand. Question 126. In God's sight, are the spirits who reach the highest degree after having passed through evil less meritorious than the others? So, for you to understand, are the spirits who reach the highest degree after having passed through evil less meritorious than the others? And then the spirits are going to answer. God looks upon those who have gone astray with the same regard. We know that, right? We're never abandoned. We're never left behind. And loves all of them in the same way. They are called evil because they have succumbed. Previously, they were nothing more than simple spirits. You know a good example here? Paul, St. Paul. So, in one life, which is very hard, what happened there is the best explanation of a greatness of the encounter with God that he had. And he worked very, very hard to leave that past of murdering, of tyranny behind. When he was Saul before the conversion and before going to, on the way to Damascus, finding and seeing Jesus there, he was the one who determined the killing of the first Christian martyr, Stephen. And Paul, once he was awakened and he found Jesus, he was the one who was in an impossible amount of years and geographically all the area that he covered by foot or using an animal like a donkey or a horse or whatever it was, but mostly by foot. If we look the area that he covered, you think it's impossible. But he did. And group by group, from houses to houses, he spread the word of Jesus Christ. He announced the gospel. And he was the one that did more for what we understand as Christians than anyone else. And in the same life, he was the one decapitating. And he was decapitated in the end. But Stephen was stoned to death. So yes, we can. We can transform our lives. We can transform ourselves. We can be responsible for what we choose to do with our existence. Because we are receiving from spirituality so much, especially right now. The knowledge is everywhere in every single way possible. We cannot allege that we didn't know. We know. Are we doing it? Are we committing to ourselves and to others, to discipline, to prayer, to charity? So the soul becomes the Paul by choice. Hard work, faith. Because nothing guides us farther in life than our faith. Nothing. People of faith, they get to places that they can even foresee. Because faith conducts us, guides us. No matter what circumstance, we keep the faith, we'll get there. And faith has brought us here now, after almost a year, in a world that suffers the contractions of labor, right? Of the world of regeneration. We're here. We're doing our part. We're contributing. One message that you share with your friend, you don't know how much that impact can cause. One prayer that you take a minute of your day to pray for somebody that's sick. That's the real transformation. So when question 126 asks, Kardec asks, if because they pass through evil they're less meritorious than the others, the answer is no. God looks upon those who have gone astray with the same regard and loves all of them the same way. The sinner, the same way. The person that doesn't even understand or accept God, the same way. It's not up to you, it's up to Him. It's up to Him in you. Everyone, every single one. No one goes astray. And if that is not the most comforting truth that one can have in life, and understanding that we're going to go through things that sometimes are not the most pleasant things, but with faith, we know it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter. We have faith. We're going to make it. Oh, almost time. We're going to have one more question for next week before we start the angels and demons. So we're going to leave 127, which is pretty long and with a lot of content. And it talks about the intellectual faculties of spirits. So we're going to do that before we start the angels and demons next week. But it went by in a blink. But I hope and I hope and I sincerely hope that all of us can make this week I mean from this Thursday to the next Thursday, good choices. We can change and we can make a difference. It's in our hands. Let's pray. Dear God, we thank you so very much for bringing us together tonight to learn and to share and to vibrate love to this planet. May our prayers reach all the homes that are suffering now, Lord, the hospitals, the streets in this cold weather. Protect our homeless friends, little animals. Watch over us, Lord. We trust. No one goes astray. And help us, Lord, have the strength to make good choices. Be of service and in peace with our conscience. We thank you for having us tonight in peace and love and harmony. So be it. I thank you all for being here tonight, and put on your calendar and share with your friends. February 18th, on the same time, we're going to have Peter Hayes talking about the book, Action and Reaction. You can't miss that. Action and Reaction by Andrea Louise. And I see you guys next Thursday, and I wish you have a beautiful evening filled with joy, peace, and light.